All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I see Striker's got first blood this morning. How you been, brother? Where you been, brother? And I see you got people watching on YouTube. Y'all got to get over to Rumble, guys. Y'all got to get over to Rumble. I'm telling you the trick right now. Pop over to Rumble and take a peek here. You see where the show's running? You see my pretty face running there. That live button, and you scroll down here and you see where it says buy me a coffee. That's a great place to support the show, but my focus right now, I want you guys to get on Rumble. So get over to Rumble and sign up for your free Rumble account. And once you've got your free Rumble account, you can be signed in so that you can be in the chat. Ooh, I don't want to show that yet. So that you can be in the live chat on Rumble. And once you've left a live chat on Rumble, I can start giving away free memberships. If we hit, today I'm going to call it 50. We hit 50 total individual people. Yeah, Cameron smartass says, I could watch here free too. Yeah, but if you're watching on YouTube free, you can't get a free Rumble premium subscription. So once you're on Rumble, if we hit 50 on Rumble this morning, I'll give away another free a free month of premium. And you're going to want that free premium. You're going to want to have that premium account because Cameron will be with us tomorrow evening to do the deep dive. Cameron's going to be filling in for Mario tomorrow night as we do the deep dive on the 100 days. So looking forward to that. Strikers on Rumble. Hey-yo! So we're steady moving up toward the right numbers, and let's go ahead and dive into the content for this morning. So, Pencil Neck Adam Schiff is doing the he's doing that same old song and dance, guys. They're coming for your guns.
Today I will be introducing the assault weapons ban of 2025, a bill that would ban the sale, manufacture, import, and transfer.
Wait. Hold up. Cameron, I got to correct you there. Cameron says, no. Get that up there. Cameron says, plus, doing Rumble on the mobile device can be a PETA? I mean, are you going to serve me a Greek sandwich? But no, I assume that he meant to type pain and fat fingered it. Guys, big difference between YouTube and Rumble and the mobile app. If you're watching on Rumble on the mobile app, you can close the mobile app on your phone while you're driving, right? So you're not seeing the video and just get the audio and listen to this show and any other show that's on Rumble that way in the live streams, you get the whole lineup of the Steven Crowder guys and everything that way, and you can listen to it with the app running in the background while you're still using your maps or whatever as your PETA, pain in the ass. Gotcha. Okay. You still listen to the podcast. If you want to do that on YouTube, you have to pay for the subscription to do that on YouTube. So, Rumble is doing a lot of good things to whoop YouTube's ass. It really is. So get over there and like I said, pump those numbers up for me this morning, and I'll give away a free month of premium to somebody. So let's drop that. We'll get back over here and listen to Schiffhead talk.
Today I will be introducing the assault weapons ban of 2025, a bill that would ban the sale, manufacture, import, and transfer of military-style assault weapons. Since 2006, there have been 486 mass shootings involving assault weapons. Hundreds and hundreds of Americans have been killed in these mass shootings. This bill is a way to attack that massive threat to our safety and security. Dianne Feinstein introduced the first assault weapons ban 31 years ago after a school shooting in Stockton, California. For 10 years, that bill had a dramatic impact on mass shootings and mass casualties. But when that expired,
That is a lie. That is a lie. For 10 years, no, it didn't. No, it did not. That is a flippin' lie. And okay, first, I just have to ask this. I mean, look at this guy's face. Look at that face. I mean, how much dick did he have to suck for his face to look so much like a chicken's asshole? I'm just, but it's a lie. Let's take a look at this article, right? This article was updated last year from a previous year, and so over the past 2 decades, the majority of Americans in a country deeply divided over gun control have coalesced behind a single proposition: the sale of assault weapons should be banned. Oh, that's cute. The idea was one of the pillars of the Obama administration's plan to curb gun violence, and it remains popular with the public. In a poll last December, 59% of likely voters said they favor a gun ban. Okay, let's gloss over that absolute fabrication real quick. But in the 10 years since the previous ban lapsed, even gun control advocates acknowledge a larger truth. The law that barred the sale of assault weapons from 1994 to 2004 made little difference. It turns out that big, scary military rifles don't kill the vast majority of the 11,000 Americans murdered with guns each year. Little bitty handguns do. In 2012, only 322 people were murdered with any kind of rifle, according to FBI data. The continuing focus on assault weapons stems from the media's obsessive focus on mass shootings, which disproportionately involve weapons like the AR-15, a civilian version of the military M16 rifle. This, in turn, obscures some grim truths about who is really dying from gunshots. And this next paragraph is going to be even more shocking when I scroll up to the top and show you where this article comes from. Annually, 5,000 to 6,000 black men are murdered with guns. Black men amount to only 6% of the population, yet of the 30 Americans on average shot to death each day, half are black males. It was much the same in the early 90s when Democrats created and then banned a category of guns they called assault weapons. America was then suffering from a spike in gun crime, and it seemed like a problem threatening everyone. Gun murders each year had been climbing, 11, then 13, then 17,000. And they actually said it right there. It's, half of the people who were murdered with guns are black. They don't get into the more important minutia, which I'm going to discuss with you in just a moment. But there's a reason for that also. And then here's the bit that I want you guys to brace yourselves for. This article is from the New York Times. Okay, so this is kind of like when the U.S. Army, back at the beginning of the Vietnam draft, did extensive research on the value of grading intelligence quotients and published their research. And we knew that the data was reliable because it was the opposite of the outcome that the data generating entity actually wanted. Right? So leading into the draft for Vietnam, the Army ran these studies, and they came to the conclusion that anyone with an IQ below about 80 was simply unemployable in a useful capacity. They could not receive and execute instructions sufficiently to be anything but a total drain on the military readiness and security posture of the military, and so could not be accepted, let alone drafted. And of course, we're talking about a time when we were implementing the draft because we needed bodies in boots to go and drink from the fucking lead hose. and we had to come to the conclusion that, believe it or not, there are people who are too stupid to effectively catch bullets. And so it will cost us more money to get them in front of the bullets we need them to catch than is worth it to spend on those bullet catchers. And I'm using that language, the bullet catchers catch bullets and all that stuff, very advisedly in this particular context, because that's exactly what the Army needed. They needed bodies to shove into the meat grinder. They had plenty of high IQ intelligence operators, nuke techs, radio techs, et cetera, et cetera. What they did not have at the time were the chaff to shove into the meat grinder for the war machine. They didn't have the entire useful population of Ukraine to feed into the Russian machine gun nests. They needed bodies to fill boots. And the conclusion they came to was, we can't just dump the retards into the machine. They're not smart enough to die right. And so because you have that opposite, the opposite of the conclusion that they wanted, that is a great key indicator of reliable data. So when the New York Times is forced to publish an article that says, guys, the assault weapons bans are bullshit, you can take that money to the bank. If the New York Times has to say, look, guys, the actual problem is that young black men join criminal organized gangs to commit recreational felonies as a cultural standard and then murder each other to the tune of 50% of the entire murder rate is the actual problem. And they don't do it with so-called assault rifles. They do it with handguns. And they don't do it with legally acquired handguns. They do it with illegal guns. When you're if you ever find yourself in need of purchasing a gun illegally, as in you have been barred because of your legal status as a felon or whatever, or you're purchasing the gun with the premeditated intent to commit a crime, and so you're trying to buy a gun on some kind of a black market deal so that you can get it without it being traced through the various mechanisms of backdoor gun registries that the federal government uses illegally, you will find an interesting thing. Your black market guns are priced by body. So a gun that you're buying from another criminal, right? It might be a $500 gun, and he might knock $100 off that price because it's got a body on it. Which means that I know that this gun has been used to commit a murder, and I will sell it to you at a discount to get it the hell away from me. You find somebody who's got a gun with several bodies, or a cop, they'll say this gun's got a cop on it. All of a sudden, you're picking up a shiny new double-barrel 1911 for $12. That is an entirely hypothetical and hyperbolic example to make the point. I've never purchased a one cop, two body, double barrel 1911. However, that would be a sexy, sexy pistol. I mean, I'm a big fan of the double barrel 1911. It's almost like watching a fast food commercial. I suddenly want to go buy a new pistol. I might do that today. Anyway, so when Schiff talks about trying to ban the assault weapons and says that there was a person who suggests that there was a measurable decrease in gun violence as a result of the assault weapons ban is either stupid or lying. Maybe both, but certainly not neither. You cannot assert that the assault weapons ban had a positive, useful effect without being either stupid or dishonest. And let's be very, very clear about this. They like to talk about, oh, well, the founders never envisioned a 30-round magazine, and you don't need a 30-round magazine to hunt deer. You don't need a 30-round magazine to hunt deer. I've got a big freezer. I don't miss much. Aim small, miss small. But I've got a shitload of kids and a big-ass freezer. I'll sure enough put 30 rounds to use for them, but that's not what it's for. I can fill the freezer up with a spear, a bow, and arrow. What do I need an assault weapon for? What do I need? A main battle rifle? Why do I, who am now a civilian, veteran, but a civilian now, why do I need a main battle rifle to accompany my full basic combat load of 7 magazines hanging over my flick, ready to rock? Because the blood of patriots and enemies alike is required from time to time to water the tree of liberty. Because our founding fathers said, governments go bad. And like I've said before, it is not that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Rather, it is that those who are most corruptible seek out power. The idea that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely comes from seeing corruption at the levels of power. But it is not a cause. It is an effect. It is a result. Those of us who are least corruptible, we busy ourselves about improving our own lives. We busy ourselves about building value and meaning, rather than occupying ourselves with stealing that from others. I've got one more. I've actually got 2 more, but I'm going to skip to the next one. I'm going to skip ahead one. I want to share this video with you guys. Doobie-doobie-doo. Okay, so this girl is out here talking about these senators, and oh my God.
Stories of countless victims brutally slaughtered by AR-15s. Think back to the children at Uvalde who couldn't be identified by anything other than their shoes because their bodies were so badly mangled. Do we really want to be a country where children's bodies are...
That didn't happen. Could only be identified by the shoes because their bodies were so badly mangled. No. Do you know how many bullets that would take? Do you know how many rounds you would have to put into somebody for them to be completely unidentifiable except for the shoes? Right? Like she said, the bodies were so badly mangled. Do you know how many rounds of ammunition you have to put into a person with an AR-15 firing a .223 or a .556 round for the body to be so mangled that you can only identify them by the shoes? I'll tell you something. I know from personal experience how many fucking rounds that takes. It's that many. It's a shitload. 223s and 556 make nice, neat little holes. Right? You've got, I think it was Swalwell out yesterday saying, when you shoot somebody with an AR-15, the bullet enters the body and explodes, removing limbs and destroying. Shut the fuck up. Oh my God. I absolutely detest hearing people talk about the effect that a weapon has on a person's body. Right? Well, you can't speak from experience. You're not a woman. You're not a black man. You're not a this. You're not a that. Okay, you're talking about what it looks like when you kill a man with a gun. Who are you to tell me? Right? I have a body count. Who the fuck are you to tell me what it looks like when you put a bunch of rounds of ammo into a man? I'll tell you what it looks like. Depending on how many children he was trafficking and mutilating, it looks like God. It looks like God put his hand on you and said, do good things, my boy. But this nut job, listen to this shit.
Bodies are being pulled out of schools, mangled because we refuse to take any semblance of action to fight. No, we don't want to be that country. Which is why I commend the efforts of...
We don't want to be that country. They refuse to take any semblance of actions to... We've told you what to do. We've tried to do it. But there is a correct answer. Right? You got old board vets like me. I'd be happy to go sit at a public school, correctly armed, and be there for the sole purpose of stopping potential mass shooters. And, oh Lord, give me a reason. I've seen what happens when I have a reason. Maybe I should hang my shadow box up on the backdrop sometime. Give me a place and a reason. Good Lord. And then she's got another thing to say that I'll comment a little bit on.
Of the senators and Congresswoman McBath here today, because while their Republican colleagues are finding new ways to terrorize transgender children in this country, they're actually taking action to make it safer for kids in the United States of America. I have lived with post-traumatic stress disorder for the last almost 6 years of my life. Next Wednesday will mark 6 years since my shooting happened in Colorado. I was a middle schooler. Being a school shooting survivor robbed me of my adolescence.
Being a school shooting survivor robbed me of my adolescence. Cameron's watching. Y'all, I am a school shooting survivor. And we've talked about this before. Cameron and I have talked about this before. We were at Heritage High School, right? A month to the day, May 20th, a month to the day after the Columbine shooting. We survived a school shooting at Heritage High School in Conyers, Georgia. I've been living with PTSD for the last 6 years. Bitch, I've been to war. And you know what I did? You know what I did the day I survived a fucking school shooting? I drove my sister home. I went back to the school in my little red Beretta. I gave people rides home to get them the hell away from the high school. And then, you're going to love this. You know what I did with the rest of my day that day? I went to fucking work. I went and spent 5 or 6 hours slapping pizza dough for Papa John's that day. Jesus. I've been living with PTSD for... Bitch, I went to work. Jesus. Stryker says Chevy Berettas were cool. Yeah, Stryker, if I'm being honest... I know a lot of my audience lives in Georgia, might be familiar with some of those backcountry roads out in the like Sinclair area. And Sergeant Major, I know it might, this might be news to you, but I spent more than a little time sideways and on two wheels in that Beretta going to the lake house back in the late 90s and early 2000s. I loved my little red Beretta. But when you're 6.5 feet tall, the only way to drive one comfortably, especially because it was a stick, I had to break the backstops off the slide rails on the driver's seat so that I could push it all the way back into the rear seat. But yeah, that's this just, I mean, nut job. And they do nothing. Do nothing. You know, we've told you what to do. Arm the teachers. Place armed security. Right? You know, you got, what's his face? Who's that noodle-armed little sycophantic sociopath? With the, he tried to do the our pillow thing. David Hogg. Jesus. David Hogg? The Hogg boy. The DNC co-chair. He has made an absolute mint off of milking the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Douglas Stoneman, whatever, the Parkland shooting. You know, he was one, apparently he was on campus, but he wasn't anywhere near the shooting, left, then heard the media was there and sped back on his bicycle to get in front of a camera. And hey, props. I mean, the boy's got the grift. He's stacking them Benjamins off of running his mouth and being an anti-2A advocate. But let's be very clear about what happened in the Parkland shooting. There was an armed security guard who bitched out and refused to enter the building to do the job he was there to do. That's it. It's that simple. Every kid except for maybe the first one that died in that shooting is on the head of that shitbag rent-a-cop who refused to enter the building and do the job. And maybe part of what's needed is that the security guy on the ground needs to be somebody who has personally, in combat, cleared buildings. You know, maybe what we need to do is build a big mount site in the middle of the country where we take all our immediate, we should call them pre-responders, right? So the first responders are the guys that you call and they come immediately, right? Your cops, your firefighters, your EMS, your EMTs, etc. We start calling them pre-responders because they're already on site and their job is to already be there. So you don't have to call them and have them drive to you, because when seconds matter, the police are minutes away, right? Maybe we take all these pre-responders, put them in a mount site and run them through some shoot houses and get them some, teach them how to spread a pair of nuts so they can do the damn job. But no. The Democrat solution is, okay, while we know that everybody who's ever committed a mass murder is committing crime and is therefore a person who is unconcerned with the consequences of illegality, the solution is to create more laws that they don't give a shit about. In fact, let me be fair. These criminals, they do actually care. They do actually have some concern and interest in laws like an assault weapons ban, a general firearms ban, the repeal of the Second Amendment. They do actually have an interest in that. And that's why they attack soft targets. Right? You never see a mass shooting in a police station, but and this is one that puts a fucking burr in my ass every time we have to talk about it. You do see a Marine Corps recruiting office in a strip mall get shot up. Why? Because for some unfathomable fucking reason, there is no FM or AR or MR or fucking UCMJ code that makes the sidearm a part of the military uniform. It mystifies me that our men and women in uniform are not compulsorily armed in uniform. And Sergeant Major, you may have told somebody to do push-ups over this. I know I have. You don't have a pen on you, soldier? You're in uniform. You're supposed to have a damn pen in your pocket. Where's your notebook, soldier? You're in uniform. Hey, we're on Schofield Barracks on Oahu in Hawaii. You're in uniform and you're Oconus. You're outside of the contiguous United States of America. Let me see your dog tag, soldier. Why in the fuck is that not how we treat the M9? At least the M9. Sergeant Major points out, yeah, I remember that. That's true. Sergeant Major points out that shooting was stopped by an armed Marine who was not authorized to have one. He was not authorized to be armed, but he was armed anyway. Right? Yeah, it mystifies me that the M9 is not a part of the daily wear uniform. It's psychotic. Okay. I've spent more time on the topic than I intended to. I'd intended to spend 15 minutes on that and do some DGUs. But I need to go ahead and wrap up the show and get on down the road. So I'm going to tell you a funny anecdote, and it's not really my story to tell, but Dad's watching, and I'm not going to. Sorry, Dad, love you. I'm not going to take the time to bring him on to tell it. But just to kind of put the idea of what it means to be in uniform in perspective, Dad, CSM, Command Sergeant Major, one of the things that they have to do is what's called a PII, right? A personnel inventory inspection. And part of that, you get the unit and you bring them out and you put them in formation, and they pull out their dog tags and they hold up their military ID card because you're inspecting them for the items you're supposed to have on them, specifically their identification items, right? And part of it is to, hey, I'm going to check your dog tags. Has anything changed? Or are you still a Christian, or have you decided to convert to Jediism or whatever, right? But the big point with the PII is to make sure that everybody's got their shit. You didn't leave your security sensitive common access card where some random Russian spy can grab it and use it to get onto a high side TSSCI computer, did you? No, you've got it. You've got positive accountability of your equipment. That's awesome. So it's a Friday afternoon, and the Sergeant Major has the unit out in formation for inspection. Now, it's a CSM. So when we say he has the unit out for inspection, we're not talking about 300 privates. We're talking about a mixed group of privates, sergeants first class, master sergeants. I don't know, maybe even some other sergeants major with less time and grade wouldn't surprise me, because they do have the responsibility to adhere to the military regulation, and officers. Right. I mean, I've personally seen old sergeant majors send young captains to the barbershop. You're out of uniform, soldier. Go get your head cleaned up. And Sergeant Major conducted his PII. Right, had the unit standing next to near a brick wall Friday afternoon, and he dismissed everybody that was compliant. Sergeant Major points out there were field grades in that formation. That's your majors and above. So basically everything up to but not include everything stopping at the general officer. So we're talking colonels, lieutenant colonels, and majors. And he gave them the command to fall out to those who were compliant and had all their shit together for the PII. And, y'all have a great weekend. Dismissed. Left the rest of them who were missing an ID card or a set of dog tags or what have you in formation. Collapsed the formation down so it was a full formation. And with the brick wall to their left, he gave them the command, left face, forward, march. Because here's what happens. You have the command to forward march, and you come up to that brick wall. You have not been given the command to halt. You get to that brick wall, and you march in place at that brick wall until you are given the command to halt, fall out, or what have you. And so Sergeant Major dismissed everybody that was compliant. He marched the rest of them at that brick wall on a Friday afternoon and walked the fuck away. Just left them there. Marching to that brick wall. Dad, I don't think I ever heard the possibly the most entertaining part of the rest of that story is how long did it go? Did it go on before somebody decided they had the authority to halt that shit and walk away? How long did that formation just march at the wall before they felt like they had been adequately chastised? Yeah. So, look, you know what? I'm going to do one more little thing before we go, since I'm bragging on my dad a little bit. He mentioned that he has put a video up on his own Rumble channel now. And this is the old man out fishing with his brother and one of his old buddies. And I'm showing you guys this for a couple reasons. Mostly, it's awesome, and also this is just kind of how we live. He and Dad and I and my little boy went fishing like this a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome.
Come on, bud.
This.
Oh my God! I don't just have to lift him in. I don't think he's gonna fit in the net.
Look at that!
You said get a big flathead. You got a camera running?
We got a camera running.
Get a picture of that girl. That's a pretty cool fish.
So
heavy.
Unfortunately, they had to throw it back because it was too big to fit in the cooler. But they have the video, so it's not like we're getting a fish story later. It's like, yeah, we caught one so big we couldn't fit in the cooler. No shit. We caught one so big we couldn't fit in the cooler. Brian, that's at Sinclair, brother. Hey, Jason, let me know, brother. We'll go fishing. Yo, we'll set that up. Old man loves to take his boat out. And there's so much fish in the freezer at Dad's house that he's not allowed to go fishing anymore until we eat up all that fish. But I bet you Ma would say it's okay if you got somebody with you that's going to take it all home. So just give us a call sometime. All right. I'm going to put a pin in it there. It is Firearms Friday. This has been Firearms Friday. I appreciate you guys watching this morning. We are going into the weekend. Y'all be safe out there, right? Don't drive drunk, don't fry bacon naked. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, farm animals, and videotape. No two at the same time. Y'all be safe. And again, if you're not already watching on Rumble, get over on Rumble. Sign up. It's free. You can win a free premium subscription watching this show live any given random morning. We didn't quite hit the 50 on Rumble that I wanted to see to give one away today. So I'm going to save that for tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, Saturday, we do the deep dives on a Saturday night. On a Saturday night, Cameron's going to be joining me to do the 100 days recap deep dive for the first 100 days of the Trump administration. And per usual, we will be live on all platforms for the first 10 to 15 minutes before we kick all the freeloaders off and switch back over to Rumble Premium exclusive members only and do the deep dive. So during that 10 to 15 minutes tomorrow evening, I'm going to give away at least one, maybe as many as 5, depending on what the viewership looks like at the time, on how many people have actually gone over to Rumble. Give away at least one, and maybe as many as 5 free 1-month premium memberships and subscriptions to the Brushfire Mind. And that, so I'm giving you is a free subscription to this show, and that includes a free promotional month of Rumble Premium access. So that means that you get a month of watching the long deep dives on Saturdays with me and Mario and occasionally Cameron. And that's a month that you can watch Crowder's extended show. You can watch Tim Pool's behind the scenes green room stuff, whatever exclusive content, premium content coming from Russell Brand, Dr. Disrespect, all the everybody's. So y'all be safe out there. We love you, and hopefully we'll see most of you tomorrow night at 2100 right here on Rumble. Because fuck YouTube and Facebook and everybody else. Rumble. Come to Rumble.